Today, let's discuss social media's effect on mental health. But first, why did we choose this topic? Well, firstly, social media usage has become such an important part in modern society, with over 3 billion people actively using social media platforms worldwide. The impacts of social media on mental health is an increasingly pressing issue, as studies have shown a correlation between excessive social media use and poor mental health outcomes. Furthermore, social media platforms have also known to exacerbate feelings of anxiety, depression, and loneliness. This can be attributed to the constant comparison and unrealistic expectation that social media can create, leading to feelings of inadequacy and low self-esteem. Another reason for choosing this topic is the potential to create positive change. With the increased awareness and understanding of how social media's use can impact mental health, interventions and strategies can be developed to mitigate these negative effects. For instance, research has suggested that setting limits on social media use, practicing mindfulness, and building strong social connections outside of social media can promote better mental health outcomes. To conclude this topic of why we chose this project, based on its relevance and importance in modern society, as well as the potential for positive change, are the reasons for why we chose this. By examining the negative impact on social media on mental health, we hope to provide insight and recommendations on how to use social media in healthy and positive ways for our audience. Before we start, let's define the key word of mental health. It is the overall physiological well-being of an individual, their emotional, social, and cognitive functioning. It also is how people feel about themselves and their ability to manage their emotions and their ability to cope with stress. Mental health is one of the most important aspects of living a healthy life. It affects how we think, feel, and behave, and our ability to lead fulfilling and productive lives. Therefore, it dictates how enjoyable and positive we are able to make our lives. Good mental health can have positive effects, such as how it influences your relationship on your friends and family and even your significant others. It can also help maintain these relationships by influencing good decisions. But most importantly, it can help cope with the challenges of everyday life. Someone with good mental health would be able to face the challenges of life without taking an extra stress. But someone with poor mental health, well, that can lead to feelings of depression, anxiety, substance abuse, and in most cases, suicide. Now that we defined mental health, let's define social media. Well, according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, it is the electronic communication which users create online communities for information sharing, ideas, messages, and other content. But after surveying random people in our communities, we receive such answers which are different, in which they say, a place where I can post pictures and updates about my life, connect with friends, watch funny videos, and it's a place to express myself and be part of a larger community. You see, to teenagers and adults, social media can't just be defined by a textbook definition. Instead, people feel connected and comfortable with social media, as it's become such a large part of our society. And because it's such an integral part of our society, social media is no small thing. It expands across many platforms that almost every single person has access to. Some platforms can include Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and who can forget TikTok, the platform that generated multiple controversies of data protection in July of 2020. But despite that, it still remains the third largest and most popular social media platform of our century. And regardless, it still accompanies 2 billion daily users. Now, based on this unimaginable quantity of users, no one would ever suspect that there could be any negative consequences to the use of social media, but unfortunately, this is simply not the case. 52% of teens develop depression from social media reasons. 55% of teens become suicidal from social media, and even worse, 71% of the 55% have actually attempted suicide. So how is mental health affected from social media? Well, firstly, it can contribute to feelings of anxiety, depression, and loneliness by creating unrealistic social comparisons. People often only post the best parts of their lives on social media, presenting a curated and idealized versions of themselves. This can create feelings of inadequacy and low self-esteem when comparing oneself to others. Secondly, social media can be a source of stress and emotional exhaustion. Constant notifications and the need to keep up with updates and the pressure to constantly stay connected can create feelings of always being on and never being able to truly disconnect from the platform. This can lead to disrupted sleep patterns, difficulty concentrating, and a loss of productivity, which can affect mental health. On top of that, social media can contribute to addiction-like behaviors. People may feel compelled to be constantly check their feeds and notifications, leading to a loss of control over social media use. This can interfere with other aspects of life, leading to neglect of responsibilities and social isolation. Lastly, social media can contribute to a lack of in-person social connections, leading to feelings of loneliness and social isolation. While social media may provide a way to connect with others, it cannot replace the quality of an in-person interaction and relationship.
Now looking at signs of addiction. Many factors can play into the addiction to social media, such as spending more than 30 minutes a day on social media, feeling the need to constantly check your notifications, choosing social media over important daily habits such as sleep and exercise, feeling anxiety when not checking your social media for extended periods of time, and physical pain such as neck pain and backaches while using social media for a while. And lastly, ignoring school or work to use social media. Many of these habits can be counteracted by using a timer for your social media apps. What is FOMO? FOMO is the fear of missing out on important social events. This fear is often generated by social media posts from those around you. Now, how does FOMO affect mental health and how does it lead to negative mental health outcomes? FOMO can lead to the distractibility and the loss of productivity and lead to more severe mental health issues in the future. These problems in most cases will result in sleep disturbances and decline in academic performance. Furthermore, let's look at the numbers for cyberbullying. 21% is the total number of social media users who have been cyberbullied between the ages of 10 to 18 years old. Even greater is the 39% of teens who have dropped out of school due to cyberbullying. 16% of is the amount of teens who were reported severely depressed from cyberbullying. These numbers only grow due to the social media spreading to younger ages of children. Now that we have seen the numbers, let's see how this truly affects the use of social media. To begin, let's look at what cyberbullying is. Cyberbullying is the bullying through electronic communications. This may come in many forms of intimidation and threatening text messages. What is cyberbullying's effect on mental health? Some actions reported by victims of cyberbullying were acting out violently, low self-esteem, and long-term emotional effects. Ways of cyberbullying can include targeted social media posting and discrimination of a singular person or groups of people.
Now we can see how cyberbullying can compare and affect the self-esteem of a person. We can see that social media can negatively impact self-esteem. Oftentimes it results in one comparing yourselves with another. Many times you can see someone looking far better than you on Instagram or on TikTok, which can often lead to self-doubt and mental issues, and oftentimes causes many mental disorders such as anorexia or bulimia. Now, social media also encourages comparison amongst you to other people, which can often come from the need of comparing yourself to another person that you see online. Oftentimes, this can come in the form of a financial comparison, such as seeing someone having more money than you and feeling jealous, which often causes insecurity, or a body slash physical image that can often once again result in insecurity. Oftentimes, an intelligence post of someone else posting a higher score and award can lead to a sense of self-anxiety and self-depression, which is often a result of the comparison that we see on social media from the success of others. Now, social media can also lead to sleep deprivation, as social media often draws constant attention. Many times we feel constantly in need to check our phone or check social media to keep update on the recent stuff. This can lead to hours of productivity and sleep loss due to the constant checking of social media, which makes it harder to obtain a healthy sleep schedule to keep yourself functioning throughout the next day. Now, social media's effect on sleep deprivation is also caused by, which can also result in the suppression of melanin caused by blue light from phones, which we commonly use social media on, and disruption of the circadian rhythm, which is important for a proper sleep cycle to function throughout the day and you to wake up and get up on time, for you to sleep and wake up on time. And while some users might say, I don't need that much sleep, Despite this, sleep is incredibly important to the human body. We can see here through the importance of a sleep study that chronic insomnia increases the risk of a mood disorder, which can often affect relationships with families and friends due to constant outbursts, often depression and anxiety resulted by the chronic insomnia, which often comes from constant phone usage, which also relates to the social media addiction. And we can also see that a study of 10,000 adults with and without insomnia was conducted, in which the adults with insomnia were 5 times more likely to develop depression over people who did not have sleep insomnia. And we can also see that people with insomnia are 20 times more likely to develop a panic disorder or other panic related attacks, which can once more harm health to the person. Now we can see ways to improve our sleep, which we recommend stick to a proper sleep schedule. Try to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night in order to be functional and healthy for the next day. And try to restrict device use before bed, as many phones and devices often contain blue light, which can affect the melanin production throughout the body. And make sure your bedroom is quiet, dark, relaxing, and a comfortable temperature in order for the body to feel relaxed and stress free in order for a good night's sleep in the night without any other distractions. Now, while we talk mainly about the negatives, we'll also talk about a few positives of social media to gain the other aspect on things. We can see that 80% of users who said that social media gives them a way to connect to what is going on in the world and be updated to the times. 70% of users of social media say that it gives a platform to express themselves and their achievements to other people. And 67% of users say that social media reassures them that they have support when going through tough times, as many times comment sections can be so filled with many supporting and uplifting comments that could potentially increase the user's self-esteem.
Now, just to conclude, some of the positives that Ira mentioned are social media can be used as a platform to express yourself. It can be used as a support system. It can be used as a way to stay informed and connected to the world and kind of gain awareness about various things around the world. And it can also be used to spread awareness about various issues. Now, to create this healthy relationship with social media, there are a few things that you should do. First is to set limits. You should limit social media to 1.5 to 2 hours a day at most to allow your brain to kind of step away from the screen which you usually use social media on and ultimately kind of relax and wind down. Also, you should take breaks. You should avoid being immersed within a virtual setting, as you can sometimes get lost in this virtual setting and kind of lose yourself and become disconnected from the real world. So what you want to do is take breaks pretty often, every 1 to 2 hours, and kind of relax and again take a break from the screen. Also, you should also engage in other activities. Participating in other activities such as board games or sports with your friends and family can allow you to get the necessary physical activity and ultimately allow you to again de-stress and relax. And this can allow you to have a greater quality of life and be healthier and happier. Now, social media addiction isn't something that you can control. However, if you find yourself going through something or someone that you know going through a tough situation, there are a few things you can do to help yourself or your friend. And the biggest thing you can do is call a helpline. Now, there is the Samsha National Helpline at 1-800-662-HELP or the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988. Now, both of these are 24/7 life helplines that can help you kind of work through your rough situation and guide you through getting out of it. Also, at the local level, most schools typically have counselors or therapists that can talk to you and also give you advice and help guide you through your rough situation, ultimately improving your mental health situation and your social media addiction. Now, again, to encourage the positive use of social media, we suggest that you should do these three things. The first is to connect with your friends and family. Having those real life personal connections with other people can really allow you to be happy and live a fulfilling life. Also, it is important to create a balance between your social media use and your real life and your real physical life. Creating this balance will allow you to ultimately get the best of both worlds and have a great positive experience. Also, you should try your hardest to be a positive user while using social media. Because there's already so much hate on social media, being a positive user and spreading more positivity could ultimately allow it to be a better environment. Now, to encourage positive interaction on social media, you should think before you post. Thinking about the actions or consequences of the various posts that you do can and thinking about how that can affect others or yourself can allow you to ultimately make social media a better place and remove any cyberbullying that may purposefully or accidentally occur. Also, when you do interact with others on social media or reply to others, you should do so with a positive attitude. As I said before, there is a lot of negativity already throughout social media, so creating and implementing positivity whenever you can will ultimately allow it to be a better place. Now, because social media does have many numerous positive opportunities, getting out of your comfort zone and pursuing other things that you might normally be able to pursue is also a great way for social media to encourage positive interactions, as you will be able to pursue things that you might not normally want to do and ultimately build new skills and have a better life or a better quality life. Now, let's look at this graph. This graph shows that for 12 to 14-year-olds and 15 to 24-year-olds, an average of 93% of people use social media. Now, this is an absurd number, and this ultimately leads to why we pursued this presentation. So, ultimately, this presentation is targeted towards teenagers because social media has become a rising topic in this generation, and many people, especially younger ones, are using social media on a daily basis. Even my sister, who is just 11 years old, uses TikTok and Instagram to catch up with her friends and watch new videos. Because of this new relevance of social media, it is important to raise awareness about the negative consequences that occur from this social media. Some of these consequences that occur are some standards that can't be achieved and false images of like your life and ultimate other negative things that can really have a negative impact on your life. So we've made it our mission to raise awareness to various teenagers or upcoming teenagers about these negative effects so they're aware and informed about the negativity that so they can avoid it as they move into the social media world. Then this presentation is also targeted towards parents because once their teenagers are like incoming teenagers at such a young age, they aren't really knowledgeable enough to make thorough decisions on their own. So this presentation is also targeted to inform parents about the negative effects of social media so they can help guide their children in ultimately becoming safer in the social media world and becoming successful in the future.
In summary, although there are many positive aspects to social media, the overall negative effects outweigh the benefits. But through the use of managing social media addictions and dealing with cyberbullying, also by practicing building a positive self-esteem and developing healthy sleep habits, we encourage our audience to overcome the negative effects. And through this presentation, we are able to encourage positive use of social media. Now that we wrapped up the presentation, let's discuss why or how this benefits our future professions. I hope to one day become a neurosurgeon and let's study neuroscience. As a neurosurgeon, you may encounter patients with mental health issues as part of your audience. This may include patients such as conditions with depression, anxiety, and PTSD, which can have a significant impact on their recovery from surgery. Your understanding of mental health issues and their impact on patients' outcome can help you provide more effective care to these patients, such as identifying, treating, and underlying mental health conditions, which is why this is very important towards my future health profession.
Now, as an aspiring psychiatrist who tends to specialize in the mental health problems and addictions of the world, I believe that the topic of social media addiction is a common rising problem that is rising among our modern day youth. And I believe that studying this topic and presenting about it has greatly taught me about the struggles that many teens go through, especially with the lack of support and knowledge from their peers and counseling to help with proper guidance of the social media addiction that is rising amongst us, including parents not knowing how to deal with this social media addiction that many teens go through. When with no proper support, many teens often fall into a sense of depression without any idea of where it's coming from. I believe that this topic helped me understand the ups and downs of social media and can greatly help benefit me for my future world of psychiatry and my future patients in the future.
When I grow up, I want to be a therapist. There are so many times when therapists have to deal with various mental health situations. So I think that understanding how social media affects mental health will allow me to provide better care for my future patients. This presentation ultimately enabled me to learn the severity of the problem of social media and its effects on mental health, and thoroughly learn about the relationship between social media and mental health. Using this knowledge of the positives and negatives of social media, I think I can truly make a successful therapist and make a change in the world.
In my future profession of sports medicine, physical as well as mental health are both very important aspects to injury recovery. Mental health also impacts a person's physical ability to perform, which is commonly disturbed by the negative social media effects. This is why social media's effects on mental health is very important to me now and in the future.